Good evening. I'm Tabitha, and anyone who's going to be watching this video tonight or any other time, because I will be uploading it to my social media page. If you know me at all, you know that earlier this year, um, my father passed away. He had been fighting renal cancer for 6 years, which was pretty commendable in and of itself. And towards the end, I had broached the topic of hospice with him. And in the beginning, he was very, very hostile to the idea of hospice. He had the misconception that hospice kills people. That is that is nothing short of untrue. But after talking with a couple of friends of mine, Anita being one, she went through the same thing with her mother and her father. And her father was extremely hostile to hospice as well. You know, you couldn't say the H word in front of him, it had to be palliative care. But I figured that if those two had that misconception about hospice, chances are they're not the only ones. So the purpose of this video tonight is to kind of put to rest some of those misconceptions that I've seen out there. So without further ado, so hospice. If we want to look at like facts, right? 25% of deaths do occur at home, and whenever it comes to terminal illness, you know, more than 80% of Americans would prefer to die at home. So hospice care, what it does, it provides support and care for those in the last phases of life-limiting illness. So it recognizes dying as part of the normal process of living. It affirms life and neither hastens nor postpones death. It makes you comfortable. And if the focus of hospice is on quality of life for individuals that are going through this transition and their family caregivers. So, and it's very much patient and family focused. There is an interdisciplinary team care. It provides a wide range of services, you know, your case manager, pharmaceuticals, mainly your painkillers, durable medical equipment, your supplies, volunteers, and after the transition, hospice does provide grief support. And I know that I still hear from Hospice of Richmond County back in North Carolina, so that organization was top notch, let me tell you. And additional services, so hospice residential care, the actual facility. My father was there for 8 days, and I will say that they took really, really good care of him. Really good care of him. They do inpatient hospice care, they do palliative care, complementary therapies, specialized caregiver training if the hospice is given in the home, and community bereavement services if desired. And so part of the team that makes up hospice is the patient's personal physician, the hospice physician, nurses. They can be RNs, they can be CNAs, they can be LPNs. Now you've got home health aides, you have social workers, you have clergy there to handle spiritual needs, and it seems like they would not be part of the process, but in a way they're probably the linchpin that holds everything together, because if you think about it, no one knows what's on the other side, if anything. So that's where the clergy puts the mind and the spirit at ease, but that's just my opinion. And you have speech, physical, and occupational therapists. You have trained volunteers. And so the work of the hospice team, they develop the plan of care along with the patient. And you really, really want to keep the patient as involved in the process as you humanly can. I know that one of my biggest things was, it wasn't so much talking him into it as just letting him know that even though I'm the only child, I was the only surviving family member besides my two children, and but just keeping his mind at ease that I would not make a move without his consent. That, even though it seemed like I was putting a lot on him, to me, bodily autonomy is, other than the legal aspect of things, it is very important, and it's wrong to take that away from someone. It really is. So, the work of the hospice team, they manage pain and symptoms. They attend to the emotional, spiritual aspects, psychosocial aspects of dying and caregiving, because there's a lot of things that are on the caregivers. They are. They teach the family how to provide the care and everything. They advocate for the patient and the family. And whenever that transition happens, they provide bereavement care and counseling. And hospice is provided in a wide variety of places. They could be in the home, they could be in a nursing facility, assisted living, a hospital, hospice residence. And towards the end, with the whole thing about affordable health care and everything. So there's a question on who pays. Now, for my dad, he was 65 years old when he passed, and Medicare footed everything on that. So, but in some scenarios, Medicare, Medicaid, insurance, and HMOs, sometimes private pay, and sometimes you have a combination of all three. So, to qualify for hospice care, these are the general requirements. Each place could be a little bit different. So, you have to have a life-limiting illness. Prognosis is 6 months or less if the disease takes normal course. So, and I'm going to tell you, my father fought that bitterly until the end. He did not come off of his chemo medication until about a week before he went into hospice. And it wasn't doing him any good, but he still had hope, and God knows I was not going to take that from him. So, they must live in the service area, and they have to consent to accept services. They have to. It has to come from them. And they have to forego other medical interventions for the terminal illness. And one thing that a lot of us may be confused about is the legal aspects of resuscitation. So if something happens at home and you have to call an ambulance there, you must have a DNR, which means do not resuscitate. You must have a DNR order on file, and it must be filed with the patient's doctor. And it's always a good idea. I made it mandatory. I had one in his house, so thank God he never needed that. But still, you want to cover all bases. So, and that is pretty much it. So, if there are any questions, or if anyone is going through the same thing and you need a empathetic ear or a shoulder to lean on, I'm only 5 foot even. You're going to have to lean down a long way because I'm short, but I'm here. So anyway, thank you for listening, and God bless.